Hello and welcome to Anglesey for the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Super Series. Race 1 about to get underway, and here is how they line up. It's Josh Jackson on pole, ahead of a very familiar name to Mazda MX-5 fans, Brian Chandler on row 1, ahead of Jake Bailey and Ben Short on row 2. Row 3 for Sam Bailey and Alec Lyndsay, with Jeremy Crook and a much improved Pepe Planeta on the 4th row. Row 5 for Simon Fleet and Matt Pickford, then Simon Orange and Joseph Marshall-Burks, ahead of Ray Worley, Russ Lyndsay and Liz Walton, who round out the 15-car field. Well, overcast but dry conditions here today at Anglesey as the red lights go on, and they go out now. And who will make the start from the front of the grid? We're on board with the BC Cars car of Brian Chandler, running his own team these days in Mazda MX-5 racing, and he's around the outside, but he's not quite going to get the lead into the first corner. It will be Jackson that leads the way, Chandler second, and then the rest of them filing through. Third place there up the inside, that looks to be yeah, I think that is Alec Lyndsay, isn't it? Alec Lyndsay's had a really good start, and he's up there in the mix at the very front of the field. Through Church Corner they come for the first time of asking, though. Behind us there, the Gulf liveried car of Ben Short. That's not the car that he was racing in last time we saw him, of course, at Silverstone, where he picked up a race victory. He's out in a different car this time, but going equally as quickly. Sam Bailey at the inside of Jeremy Crook there as they rush up the hill towards the Rocket Complex for the first time. Hard on the brakes now, and you can see that it's all starting to get quite greasy up there at that part of the circuit. The rain does seem to be coming in, and that's making life challenging for the drivers out there as they now start searching around for the grip. Sam Bailey there with Simon Orange and Jeremy Crook doing battle towards now the right-hander appeal. Down towards the end of the lap, and it is the coastal circuit, the shorter of the layouts that we're using here this weekend. And look, they're still using all of the dirt as they come down into the corkscrew that ends the lap. We're on board with Brian Chandler here as he works his way through the tight left-hander and onto the pit straight. Down onto the start-finish line once again, where it is going to be Josh Jackson who leads the way. Chandler second, third place then for the Gulf car of Ben Short. Fourth place is Jake Bailey, 4 times a winner this year, but he goes up the inside of Ben Short into the banking, but with that corner being banked, the outside line is often where the grip and the momentum is, but not on that occasion because there was a bit of a wobble there, possibly in the greasy conditions there for Short, and so up the inside into Church. I think Jake Bailey's going to go through. Yes, he does. Drifts a bit wide on the exit though, and so Short will try and come back at him. Brian Chandler there running wide over the grass, sticks his hand out of the cockpit, and a few other cars further back doing the same thing. In fact, one car very sideways indeed and spinning in the middle of the road. But this was all happening behind Matt Pickford. I'm not sure who that was. White card, possibly Joseph Marshall-Burks has had a moment, but we'll try and pick up on that in a moment or two if we can. There, though, is Jake Bailey into third position now. Windscreen wipers working backwards and forwards as he chases down the leading 2 cars. Jake Bailey just about ahead of Brian Chandler. They're being caught now, definitely, by the cars behind. Through the left, through the right at the corkscrew, back down the hill towards the end of the lap. Brian Chandler trying to figure out which way he's going to go. Brian, of course, a regular race winner in Mark 1 Mazdas. He also did a season of the MX-5 Super Cup recently before turning some attention more to running the cars than racing them. But he's taken this opportunity to come out and have a play at Anglesey. It's great to have him out there. He's a real character. He's in danger of losing second place here to a fired up Jake Bailey, who seems to be getting quicker as he gets more and more used to the conditions now. Josh Jackson has more wins than anyone else this year. 9 victories to Josh in the number 72 car. They don't score points, this being a series, but there is a chance they can start scoring points next year if it can become registered as a championship. Certainly the entries have been going up all year. This is not the biggest entry we've had. We had 20 last time out at Anglesey, often a circuit that some drivers are a bit reluctant to travel to, but Brian Chandler's glad he travelled here because he's taken the race lead. So Brian Chandler driving really well here on his trip up to the north of Wales. Is ahead now of Jake Bailey and Josh Jackson, who have been doing such good battles all year long. They've been tied together, those two. We've had some cracking dices between them. It is Jackson in front of Bailey at the moment. Bailey looks a bit quicker maybe at this stage of the race, as if maybe he might be able to find a way through. Down into the corkscrew they go. He'll want to get through fairly quickly because Brian Chandler is already starting to escape up the road, and there is Bailey trying to carry the speed through the final corner, get the run across the start-finish line, which he almost does. Weaves to the inside, nothing doing there though. They send it then back into the first corner and target corner. Daunting corner, lots of runoff area on the exit. If you get on the grass, you're likely to spin. Jake Bailey, though, up the inside. He's almost on the grass on the inside of the banking. So tight was his line there to try and get underneath Josh Jackson. But again, it's not paying off. Jackson's hanging on. Down towards Church again. Chandler in the race lead and starting to check out. And Ben Short is starting to catch those two now as they do battle as well. Out of Church Corner, now up the hill. Now, on a day like this, there's almost always a headwind going up this hill, and it is quite a steep hill as well, so it's definitely a good opportunity to get in the slipstream and try to make the move, which is what Jake Bailey is doing. He goes to the outside line. He's really late on the brakes. He goes around the outside of the left-hander, tries to get the inside for the right-hander. There's contact between the two of them, though. Bailey's on the grass, Jackson's on the grass. Ben Short could take advantage of that, and he does, and he moves into third position. Jake Bailey won't appreciate that, but it was within Josh Jackson's right. He's in the toe. Goes from the outside to the inside, and that might just work. It looks like the outside line here because there are two distinct right-hand kinks up the back straight, but then if he gets the inside line for the braking zone, which he does, Jake Bailey should be able to go through, and he does. So Jake Bailey takes second place away now from Ben Short. It was a really nicely judged move, and he moves himself now into some clean air with which he will hope to try and close in on the race leaderboard. So Ryan Chandler is already a couple of seconds up the road. Bailey, first of all, has to deal with the pressure from Ben Short behind. Through they go, Ben Short, the orange and blue number 66 car. Out of the turn they go. The last lap board goes out, so no, we will get one more lap of this. They're lapping in the 1:20s. There was about a minute and a half left on the clock, and as they go through turn number one, that is perfect news for Jake Bailey, because Jake Bailey is going to, oof, look at that, have another chance to try and get past Ryan Chandler. So there was a minute and 30 left on the clock. There was a minute left on the clock, excuse me, as they started the final lap. That is enough time for one more lap, as long as whenever the time runs out, they finish the lap that the leaders are on. And that is the lap that they're on now, as Jake Bailey gets in the tow once more up the hill towards the rocket complex. And is there a gap on the inside? Not really, but he goes for it anyway. Jake Bailey really late on the brakes. Has to be careful to avoid contact there, though, because Brian Chandler was going to have to turn into the corner at some point, which he did. And Brian it is who hangs on. He slithers a bit wide there, though, through the right-hander at the exit of the rocket complex. It's not raining anymore. That was just over-exuberance with the right foot, I think, there for Brian, which is something that you could say has become a bit of a feature of Brian's driving. He's very spectacular to watch indeed. He's also a very, very good racer and hard to pass. I don't think Jake Bailey's going to have much chance of getting through the final couple of corners. He's going to try and force Brian to defend into the last corner, which he does. So it's going to be a drag race to the line, but it's a short run to the start-finish line, and Brian Chandler's going to just about do enough to hang on and win the opening race here at Anglesey by a quarter of a second over Jake Bailey in second. Ben Short was third ahead of Josh Jackson, a disappointing fourth. Then Alec Lyndsay, Sam Bailey, Simon Fleet, Simon Orange, then Matt Pickford and Pepe Planeta round out the top 10, ahead of Russ Lyndsay, Ray Worley, Joseph Marshall-Burks and Liz Walton, with Jeremy Crook an on-finisher.
It was quite an exciting race until about halfway through, and then Chipmunk Chandler and young Jake there managed to get the legs on us and disappeared up the road a little bit, and after that it was about controlling the gap with Josh Jackson. But yeah, qualifying was really disappointing. I should have tested, but I didn't. So qualifying was really disappointing, and then the boys did really well at BS Motorsport, changed the setup, and obviously the car's a bit quicker now. So hoping for some rain tomorrow, where maybe a bit of experience might help me out. But yeah, a good result, and a big thank you to Nick Riley for the loan of the car this weekend. And again, we're just developing it to get it as quick as possible for when he takes over in a couple of weeks' time.
Race number 2 here for the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Super Series at Anglesey on the coastal circuit. We're enjoying a typical Anglesey summer's afternoon here with very overcast skies, quite a bit of rain in the air, but not yet really falling on the circuit. Keep an eye out for that, though, as the race goes on. Race number 2, though, about to get underway. Race 1 won by Brian Chandler from Jake Bailey and Ben Short, the other podium finishers, and that will therefore make the grid for race number 2. So it is Chandler from Bailey from Short from Jackson, looking to try and improve on 4th place in race 1. Alec Livesley and Sam Bailey are on row 3, ahead of Simon Fleet and Simon Orange. The two Simons again inseparable. They're together on the 4th row. Matt Pickford and Pepe Planeta are next, then Russ Lyndsay and Ray Rawley, Joseph Marshall Burks and Liz Walton, with Jeremy Crook retirement in yesterday's race after contact with Simon Orange. He will come from the back in this one. So it is Brian Chandler on the pole position on the outside, though. The grippier line is Jake Bailey. Will that give him the run down towards turn 1? Let's find out. The lights go out and Brian Chandler makes a good start. Bailey does get his nose in front, though. Can he go right round the outside at turn 1 to get the inside for the banking? That's what he's going to try and do. Brian Chandler might just lean on him. They bang wing mirrors, but Bailey holds his ground and takes the race lead. Good stuff there from Jake Bailey. He goes through. Chandler second, Short is third. 4th position is Josh Jackson by the looks of it, and 5th place for Alec Livesley, who's having a really good weekend here in Anglesey. On board with Chandler, though, in 2nd position, looking back at Ben Short in 3rd. And as they come out of Church Corner, the slipstream starts to take effect, and Brian Chandler's on the grass as he tried to get as much speed out of the corner as possible. It was still a bit damp and greasy there after some overnight rain, and so Brian Chandler actually loses momentum up the hill and could come under pressure from the cars behind, which is exactly what's happening. Look at that, Ben Short going to the outside line. Now these two have raced against each other in the Super Cup in times gone past. Last year, in fact, they were both racing in the Super Cup in the early part of the year at least, and Brian Chandler looking forward, I'm sure, to resuming that battle with Ben Short. He's a very quick driver, but not quite able to go through on that occasion. So Jackson then in 4th. We're on board with him now, the man who has won more races than anybody else this year. 9 wins so far in 2018 for Josh Jackson. Whenever he wins, he seems to win every race of the weekend. He won all 3 at Snetterton. He won all 3. And risks getting shovelled off the road. Well, he outbraked himself anyway, ran wide, and Ben Short gets alongside him. Oh, this is all getting very, very intense indeed. Ben Short now trying to take 2nd place away from Bailey, and this takes some of the pressure now away. Oh, look at that for a lunge up the inside. Ben Short, can he get the car stopped? Almost. There's a bit more contact between the two of them. Ben Short could see Brian Chandler escaping up the road and was having none of it, wanted to go after him, but Bailey hangs on despite the very, very wayward moment there for the two of them going through Peel Corner. And Ben Short is not able to go through, so Brian Chandler comes out onto the pit straight, back in the lead, and ironically now has, I'd say, the most comfortable lead that anyone's had so far this race. And a lap ago, he was down in 2nd place. That's the way it works sometimes. One overtake can lead to another, and then a bit of contact, and all of a sudden the whole complexion of the race changes. And it is Chandler that leads the way. Ben Short looking increasingly sideways, though, as he tries everything he can to find a way past Jake Bailey. But they have now lost touch with Brian Chandler, and crucially, they've lost the toe. So I don't think they're going to be able to close back in on him over the remaining couple of minutes. This may be the last lap. We may squeeze one more out of it, I think. Yeah, lapping in the 120s. We should get one more lap after this one. And now comes about the fight for 2nd place between Jake Bailey and Ben Short. Up the hill they will go. Into the braking zone. Short looks to the inside, but Bailey was late enough on the brakes to cover that one. The Anglesey Coastal circuit once again producing some thrilling racing. The BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Super Cup once again producing thrilling racing. Combination of the two leading to lots of entertainment here this morning. We've got another race to go still later on today. Anything could happen in that one with rain in the air and the possibility of some really inclement conditions. We'll have to wait and see what the weather is like later on this afternoon. The race leader, though, Brian Chandler, is coming down into the final corner and is going to see, I should imagine, the last lap board. Yes, he does. So across the line they go. Brian Chandler, yeah, quicker than the 2 cars behind him that time around by a significant margin. He's now built up over a 1 second advantage, so it looks as though Brian Chandler, despite the fact that a lap or so ago he lost the lead and nearly lost 2nd place as well, he is going to take the race victory though. So Chandler heads up towards Church Corner again, flings it into the right-hander, carries as much speed through there as possible. It's virtually flat out. You sometimes have to feather the throttle, especially if it's a bit slippy or if there are other cars around you. Generally speaking, it's flat out through there. You can see he's put the windscreen wipers on now, though, so it's starting to rain a bit more heavily, and that will mean he's being a bit more tentative. That will not help him either, because Liz Walton has just spun not that far up the road from the race leader. There goes Chandler, look, so Chandler picks his way through. Well, that was a dramatic moment on the final lap. It's definitely starting to get quite treacherous out there now. I think the rain is starting to come in, although Chandler now turns his windscreen wipers off again at the far end of the circuit. It can often be a bit isolated around here as the rain comes in off the sea. It is going to be Chandler, I think, with only 3 corners to go, who is going to double up here in the MX-5 Super Series. He won his first ever race in the series yesterday, and now here this morning he's going to take a second race win. 2 from 2 for Brian Chandler after a fantastic race with Jake Bailey. Jake it is who comes home in 2nd place, and Ben Short will cross the line in 3rd. Confirmation of that result then: Chandler, Bailey and Short from Josh Jackson 4th, and Sam Bailey 5th. Alec Livesley is 6th, then Simon Orange and Simon Fleet, again never far apart, with Jeremy Crook into the top 10 ahead of Matt Pickford. Joseph Marshall-Burks, Ray Worley and Liz Walton round out the finishers, with Russ Lyndsay and Pepe Planeta both out after their contact.
Ryan, 2 from 2 in what's a guest appearance this weekend here at Anglesey. I think you're showing everyone what you can do.
Yeah, it's good to be back in the car. I'm enjoying myself. Like I say, I've not been out since last year, so yeah, I'm having a laugh, having a fun, and yeah, that was hard. That one, that was that was like racing James and Tom and Ben all over again. That was, yeah, I struggle with that one.
I had a good start on Brian. Led it for quite a few laps at the start, and then he got past me, showed some experience there, and then I made a mistake. He got past me again. We swapped places a few times. In the end, yeah, he beat me, but it was a good race nonetheless.
Well, we said there was rain in the air in races 1 and 2. Well, the rain's on the ground now. It has absolutely poured it down here at Anglesey. It's our 3rd MX-5 Super Series race of the weekend. It's going to take place in very inclement conditions. They start this one how they finished race 2, so it's Brian Chandler, Jake Bailey, Ben Short and Josh Jackson at the front of the grid. Our retirements from race 2, Russ Lyndsay and Pepe Planeta, are at the back. But this is going to be a very treacherous 20 minutes of racing. The red lights, though, go on, and we are going to go racing with, on the inside of row 1, Brian Chandler, and the outside for Jake Bailey. Where is the grip going to be in the wet? It's going to be with Chandler on the inside by the looks of it. He will lead down towards turn number 1. Jake Bailey turning into 2nd place, and look at the spray as they fight their way through. And it is very wet indeed out there. Bailey looking to the outside of the banking. Now, in theory, that should be where the grip is in the wet conditions. The outside line is the place to be. There's contact between the two of them. They're starting off where they left off in race 2 when they were banging into each other over the final few laps. And Chandler hangs on for the time being. Bailey 2nd, side by side for 3rd then between Ben Short and Josh Jackson. You can see there the way that they run right around the outside edge of the corner at Church. That's because where the rubber has been laid down in the dry conditions, that gets really slippery when the water sits on top of it. So actually the best place to drive in the wet is offline, away from all of the rubber, and that's what they're doing up there at Church Corner. They will try to do that, I'd imagine, around most of the lap. There are Simon Orange and Alec Livesley together. Simon Orange often goes quite well in the wet, I've noticed this year. We've had a few wet or damp races in 2018. Back through the right-hand elements of the complex they go, and again Orange right around the outside there, wheel to wheel, inches apart, these two, as they turn into Peel, and they almost tangle together there. They're both fighting for the grippiest part of the road. Neither wanted to go in on the tight line there, whereas in the try, of course, normally it's a fight to get to the apex first. Right, on board with Brian Chandler as he drops down the hill now in towards the end of the opening lap. Jake Bailey, who was such a thorn in his side in race 1, is likely to be the same in race 2, you'd have to say. There are Simon Orange and Sam Bailey working their way through as well. And out onto the pit straight once again. So it is Chandler from Bailey from Short, your top 3 at the end of lap 1. And again, none of them getting anywhere near the apex, in particular at the banking, because with there being, well, banking there, the water sort of runs down to the bottom and collects down by the inside curb, so they definitely want to stay away from that. Standing water is not your friend if you're a racing driver. You can see, although the outside looks like the wetter part of the circuit, it's still the grippiest, and it's why it takes a real knack to be a good wet weather driver. Not all drivers can do it. The ones that can will often excel over here in the UK. Up the hill they go again, and Ben Short now looking to the outside of Jake Bailey. Jake Bailey defending for the time being, but Short now has the grippier line, tries to get the cut back though, that's interesting. And Short, whose car has been sideways quite a lot already this weekend, even more so in the wet, but that's worked for the time being. He gets to the inside, does a bit of a slide job on Jake Bailey, and he will go through, I think, unless Bailey's got the run on the exit of the corner. The two of them wheel to wheel, are they? Yes, they're still side by side down towards the corkscrew, but Short has gone through. Now, the last wet race we had at Silverstone, these two came together in the early stages. Thankfully, they avoided such contact this time around. So, Short into second. What can he do about the race leader then? Ben Short did win a race at Silverstone last time out in the wet, so we know that he's strong. Ryan Chandler, though, renowned for his wet weather prowess as well over the years in Mazda MX-5s, so this will be an interesting matchup between the two of them. Jake Bailey's been pretty decent in all conditions this year. Hence the reason he's been able to take 4 race victories, but that search for the 5th race victory, he's just come up short in both races so far this weekend. The first race, he missed out on the win by just over a quarter of a second. The second race by 1.7 seconds, but arguably it should have been closer than that because he'd been really, really pressuring Ryan Chandler all race long. Now, Chandler ran a bit too wide that time, got on the curb going out of Church Corner, and you can just about see through the gloom that Ben Short had used that to his advantage to start closing in. Meanwhile, Alex Lyndsay is struggling here. He's trying to get back alongside Simon Orange, though, and in the mix as well is Sam Bailey. 3 cars under a blanket going towards the Rocket Complex. They can barely see each other, let alone outbreak each other. But Lyndsay up the inside line, he's locked up, he's gone straight on, he takes Orange with him. And Sam Bailey says, thank you very much, chaps, I'll just go past the pair of you, which he does. And Lyndsay and Orange come out still side by side, despite the little tangle. Lyndsay on the outside, he's on the curb, he's on the grass. Got Jeremy Crook in there as well. Now, Jeremy Crook and Simon Orange came together in race 1 up at this part of the circuit, Rocket. And they're getting in close proximity again. Now it's Lyndsay and Orange this time around, though, who are trading paint. And, well, the first 2 races were very tight indeed. This one was in the early stages, but really, as the race has gone on, Ryan Chandler has stamped his authority on this one. And it looks as though he's going to come home a triple race winner here at the Anglesey Coastal Circuit, and in all sorts of conditions as well. We had the bone dry conditions in race 1. Race 2 was a bit damp in places, but mostly okay. And now in the full wet conditions, Brian Chandler's going to put in his most dominant performance so far. Let's hope that Brian is tempted back out of semi-retirement once or twice more for the rest of the season. We know that this is not his usual car, but it would be nice if he could get into a car and get out on the grid, because we've really enjoyed having him here. He brought something extra to the series. It's always good to have another really good driver in there as a benchmark to some of the less experienced drivers, someone for them to chase after. And they've chased him hard this weekend, but in race number 3, it is a dominant victory for Brian Chandler. He sees the checkered flag first. In the end, over 13 seconds ahead of Ben Short in second. Sam Bailey gets a 4th podium of the year, ahead of Simon Orange and Josh Jackson. Then it's Alex Lyndsay, Jeremy Crook, Simon Fleet, Matt Pickford, and rounding out the top 10, Ray Worley. Joseph Marshall-Burks, Pepe Planeta and Liz Walton are the final finishers. Jake Bailey a non-finisher, whilst Russ Lyndsay didn't start.
Brian, hat-trick, 3 out of 3.
3 out of 3.
It doesn't get better than that this weekend.
Yeah, boys at BC Cars Motorsport done awesomely. The car was a dream on that one, actually. It was a bit of fun. It was nice to have me and Ben back. Obviously, me and Ben go back way long time in the Mazdas, so I thought we was going to have a proper ding-dong out there. But yeah, I pulled away, and it was all good. I saw that he helped himself to a bit of grass, so yeah, unfortunately, that just left me to circulate and have a bit of a giggle. So yeah, great day.